Hey guys, Miss Burns again. Um, I hope you're all doing well. I know I say that every day, but I always mean it. Um, I am keeping myself busy. Um, you know, crafty. I was going to show you the most adorable thing ever, ever. So I have a couple of friends who needed cloth masks and they don't sew. I happen to sew a little. So I agreed to make some masks for them. And the pattern that I found also had an infant size mask. So as you know, I have a new baby nephew who is 6 weeks old, almost 7 weeks old. Oh my goodness. But anyway, if this is not the cutest thing you've ever seen, then I don't know what to tell you. But I made this teeny tiny little face mask for. I've got to put the strapes on it, but it has sharks on it because he's a little boy and we all love sharks. And it's so teeny. Look, it's teeny. It's a little teeny. But yeah, she's gonna wash it before he wears it, so it's okay that I'm putting it on my face. But yes, I made that for him, and I love Beauty and the Beast, so I made this one for me. Look at that, love it. Anyway, so I just want to show you guys that because that's what I've been up to. I've been knitting a little. Show you my knitting needles. So doing a little knitting, a little cross stitching. I'm such a nerd, but it's fun. I hope that you guys have found some constructive things to keep you busy, and that you're being good and making good choices. So today, we've been working with informational text, and as you'll notice in iExcel, when we're working through, I'm not sure, I don't remember how it pops up for you guys, but for each section, there are, several from 3 to even more different lesson sections, and some of those repeat because that particular skill is needed for that set of skills. So in this one of the ones that is repeated is comparing information from 2 texts. So I am going to go over that just in case you missed it or you missed that video, you need a refresher, whatever. I'm going to go through that. I have a few examples from iExcel. And then we have done identify supporting details in literary text, but this will be identify supporting details in informational text. And it is obviously very similar, but I'm going to go through a couple of examples just so that we're working with that type of text. It shouldn't be a difficult transition. You guys shouldn't have a lot of trouble with it, but I will go over the example anyway. So, we have that going. There are 2 lessons on this one, just because the comparing is something you've done before, and you may not even need that. So, we'll try to go through that pretty quickly. So, I'm going to jump right in with those. I again have them on my phone, so these examples I thought were pretty cool. You may not, but I did. The first one is about the Bermuda Triangle, which has always kind of fascinated me. I don't know if any of you are familiar with the Bermuda Triangle kind of theory or theories. So it says, read a text about the Bermuda Triangle. So that's what we're going to do. On his way to America, Christopher Columbus noticed something strange about his compass. Its needle was moving in an unexpected manner. At the time, Columbus was sailing between Florida and the island of Bermuda. Today, this area of ocean is sometimes called the Bermuda Triangle. Columbus wasn't the only person to note strange happenings there. In 1945, 5 Navy planes disappeared while over the triangle. Years later, a ship vanished. Some people say that these things cannot be explained by science. Believe it or not, some think time travel takes place there. Others claim creatures from outer space are involved. No one knows for sure. So, I'm going to give you 3 details, and 1 is from the text. Official maps don't recognize the Bermuda Triangle. Some think that aliens might be behind the disappearances. Or the number of disappearances is nothing out of the ordinary. Well, let's start with official maps don't recognize the Bermuda Triangle. It does say that the area is sometimes called, which we might infer that it's not on the map, but that is not a detail that's included. And then we have the number of disappearances is nothing out of the ordinary. It tells us about a couple of strange disappearances, but it doesn't say anything about if that's normal or abnormal. And then it says, some think that aliens might be behind the disappearances. And here in the text, it says, believe it or not, some think that time travel takes place there. Others think creatures from outer space are involved. So, creatures from outer space are in fact aliens. So, that would be the one we would choose. That is the detail that's included in the text. And then it goes on. It's a second text about the Bermuda Triangle. So, let's do it. Many people believe that an area of ocean, the Bermuda Triangle, holds an unsolved mystery. This is because a large number of boats and planes have vanished there. People have come up with all kinds of strange ideas about these disappearances. However, there's nothing really mysterious about them. They're likely due to storms, rough waves, and human mistakes. Experts say there are no more disappearances in the Triangle than in any other well-traveled seas. In fact, the U.S. Coast Guard doesn't even view the Triangle as separate from the rest of the ocean. That's why you won't find it marked on official maps. So, select the two details that are included in the text. So we have the same details. Official maps don't recognize the Bermuda Triangle. Some think that aliens might be behind the disappearances. The number of disappearances is nothing out of the ordinary. Let's start at the beginning. Official maps don't recognize the Bermuda Triangle. So we go back, and it says, the U.S. Coast Guard doesn't even view the triangle as separate from the rest of the ocean. That's why you won't find it marked on official maps. So yes, we would check that one, okay? Some think that aliens might be behind the disappearances. Nothing about aliens in this one. That was the other one. So we don't check that box. Then, the number of disappearances is nothing out of the ordinary. So in this one it says, experts say there are no more disappearances in the Triangle than in any other well-traveled seas. So yes, we would check that. So those are the two details that are included in text number 2. Okay, so then we have a chart. And I tried to show you guys the other day. Let's see if this will work. Oh, yep, there we go. There's the chart. I didn't do very well reading it backwards, so I'm going to flip it back around. Compare the details that were included in both texts. So we have all three details and the check marks for where they were involved, where they fit, which text they were in. Who would likely agree that the Bermuda Triangle is worth studying further? Okay, well, out of those details, text 1 said some think that aliens might be behind the disappearances. Text 2 said official maps don't recognize the triangle, and the number of disappearances is nothing out of the ordinary. Text number 2, from what we read, basically says that the Bermuda Triangle is nothing special. There's nothing weird going on there, and people are just making things up or exaggerating what is happening. Text 1, something that aliens might be behind the disappearances. You know, that's interesting. That's not ordinary. So, you could definitely deduce, infer those words, those academic words, that author would definitely believe that there should be more study. So the answer would be the author of text 1. You click that and submit, and you'll do that on all of them. None of them are very long. We've done this before. You guys will be fine. Okay? So now we're going to move on to identify supporting details in informational texts. Like I said, we've done literary text, but not informational text. And although it's the same concept, it's a little different in execution and what you'll be looking for. So when you're working with a literary text, you're likely to be using inferences and reading a bit more into the information you have. And that, and finding what supports that inference. Okay. Um, this will be a bit more straightforward because you're just being presented information. Okay. So, let's look at the first example. Well, I'll look at it. You'll hear it. Sorry, my phone locked. Let's try that. Okay. So this one's about Niagara Falls, which is, I've been to New York, but never to Niagara Falls, but it's somewhere I've always wanted to go and check it out. So imagine being as small as a flea, standing on a sidewalk next to an open fire hydrant. Can you picture that? This is how visitors to the waterfalls at Niagara feel. The water drops from a height that is as tall as a 17-story building, roaring like a locomotive and sending up an endless cloud of mist as it crashes onto the rocks and water below. Okay, so the question or prompt is to select the best detail to show Niagara Falls is incredibly loud. Okay, so let's put on our literary caps again. What words would mean loud, right? So we've got an open fire hydrant, water drops from that height, and then it says roaring. We know that roaring is loud. A lion roars. A locomotive, in this case, roars. But, a train is loud. And sending up an endless cloud of mist. So you would click roaring like a locomotive, and it would highlight that section, and then you would submit. Okay? All right, let's do one or two more before we. And this one has some, if I mispronounce anything, just forgive me. Okay? It's about a volcano, which I love the study of volcanoes. I'm very interested in volcanoes. I think they're amazing and scary, but amazing. I went to Pompeii, where Mount Vesuvius erupted. If you don't know anything about that, look it up. Or when we get back to school or back to center, we'll talk about it because it's really interesting. I'm not a history teacher, but we'll talk about it. Okay. After more than a century of peaceful dormancy, Nevado del Ruiz began quaking with tremors. Steam poured out of cracks, and the volcano spit ash, turning the snow on the summit gray. A new small crater, a bowl blasted by the steam explosions, appeared inside the summit's original crater. Earthquakes continued on and off for 10 months. Okay, first of all, I want us to talk about this. There are lots of words in that passage that you may not know what they mean. So what have we learned to do when we're unsure? Look it up. You guys all, I have too much trouble getting you to put your phones down for you to not be able to look up a word on Google, okay? So if there's a word you don't know, look it up. Or if you can't figure it out from context clues, because you guys know how to do that too. But like dormancy, peaceful dormancy, I think that you guys can read that, and if you don't know what dormancy means, you can figure out by the sentence that means the volcano was peaceful, inactive. Okay. So the prompt is, the following text is about the 1984 eruption of the Nevado del Ruiz volcano in Colombia. Select the best detail to show the eruption changed the shape of the Nevado del Ruiz volcano. So when we read, we hear about its activity levels, and then what happened when it began to erupt. And then it says, a new small crater, by definition a bowl blasted by the steam explosions, appeared inside the summit's original crater. So we know that is what changed the shape of the original volcano. It's basically a mountain, but the volcano. A summit. So we would click the section that says a new small crater, and it would highlight, and then you would hit submit. Okay. I chose a lot of examples, but we're not going to go through every single one of them. Okay, here's one about Thomas Jefferson and his library. If you don't know about Thomas Jefferson, read up. He was a flawed man, but very smart and kind of controversial. But check him out. He was very complex and a complicated fella. Okay, Thomas Jefferson loved to read. He collected books about the stars and books about history. In fact, he had one of the largest libraries in America. Thomas Jefferson also loved to write. He wrote letters to people like Benjamin Franklin and George Washington. In his lifetime, he wrote over 20,000 letters. That's like writing a letter a day every day for 55 years. That is intense. I did not know that. I knew that he wrote a lot of letters, but wow, that's insane. Okay, so the prompt is, select the best detail to show Thomas Jefferson had a huge collection of books. And the first two sentences, he collected books, or not the first two sentences. We know that he loved to read, and then there is another section. He collected books about the stars and books about history. In fact, he had one of the largest libraries in America. That obviously means he had a huge collection of books, right? So we would click that section, it would highlight it, submit. Okay? So that's going to be the answer to that one. So this is stuff that we've done before. Like I said, it's just a different type of text. But you guys will be fine. You'll do great. Trying to think if there was anything else I needed to tell you guys. Okay. If you've already mastered the comparing information from two texts, if you've already mastered that skill, and you feel comfortable to move on, that's fine. If you have not mastered it, remember I told you guys, master each skill, then please master that before you go forward. It may pop up again, so let's do that. If you need any assistance, I'm available. You know that my email is reading2gjcc@gmail.com. I forgot for a second. My work email, which I can still access, is burns.april@jobcorps.org. You can comment on the video, or you can reach me through Classroom. If you need anything, please let me know. Don't hesitate to reach out. I'm happy to help in any way. So thanks, guys. Enjoy another weekend at home, hopefully. Social distancing. I love you guys. Make good choices. And I will talk to you again tomorrow. Thank you. Bye, guys.